welcome to my channel. I'm Ashley, an astrologer and oracle card reader. Today I'm here to do a pick a pile oracle card reading for the total full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus. But before we get into the reading, let's talk about this eclipse because there's so much going on involving the eclipse. So first of all, full moons bring about endings, okay? We're also on the Taurus-Scorpio axis, which we've already seen some eclipse happen on these axes, and the eclipses happen on this axis for about 18 months, okay? So themes and issues and what's coming up is likely stuff you've already been dealing with for a little bit, okay? We had the eclipse, the solar eclipse in Scorpio on the 25th. Not as potent, I don't feel, as this one because there's so many aspects. The luminaries and the planets are in conversation and relationship with each other, and it's really giving this eclipse a different kind of flair and flavor. So the full moon will be exact at 16 degrees Taurus, which is a Cancer degree. So might be in your feels with this one, right? It might be a lot of like emotions, feelings coming up, feelings about self-worth. That's a Taurus theme, okay? As a collective, we can generally guess that themes around money, self-worth, values, possessions, food, our food systems, the land are going to be coming up, okay? Now let me go through the aspects that are happening to just give you an idea of the players involved. So we have the moon opposing Mercury. We also have the moon opposing the sun, okay, which is what happens in this type of eclipse. We have the moon conjunct Uranus. We have the moon square Saturn, okay? We have the sun conjunct Mercury. We have the moon opposing Venus. We have the moon sextile Neptune. We have Mercury opposing Uranus, and then we have the moon trine Pluto, okay? So just to give you an idea of all the energies involved and how this might feel a little bit chaotic, eclipses are kind of chaotic on their own because they really bring in the sweeping change that we have been avoiding, not wanting to deal with. Maybe knowing on some level that something needs to come to an end, closure, you know, be wrapped up, be finished, be left behind in the past, but we haven't gotten to it yet. We haven't wanted to deal with it, look at it. Well, eclipses oftentimes will bring that sweeping change, okay? Now, you know, this involvement with Mercury means that we might be discovering things. You know, eclipses bring up things that have been in the dark, okay? Lunar eclipses, especially a total lunar eclipse, which means that the moon is being eclipsed by the earth, right? It's going to be in the earth's shadow. And so it can be quite revealing. We might, it might be a really communicative eclipse, meaning there's lots of like conversations going on, secrets coming out, being revealed, all that stuff. And with the moon conjunct Uranus, like really close to, maybe even on top of Uranus. Yeah, I think it's on top of, it is, because Uranus is at 16 degrees Taurus as well. You know, Uranus is all about revolution, change, innovation, doing things different than before. So it might bring in that sweeping change that we need. I think we're already seeing this as a collective. We're seeing shifts in our food system, at least here in the States, issues with land coming up, right? You know, people have been talking about food shortage and, you know, tapping into the land to get more oil, and, you know, all these conversations kind of have been going on already, but really comes, you know, to like a head at this time, right? So, and usually full moons, as opposed to the last eclipse we have, it kind of plays out a little bit longer. This one is kind of like, here's your sweeping change and boom, you're done with it. It doesn't drag on necessarily. What's ever going to come up and happen is likely either already kind of coming up or going to happen for you this week, right? So lots of potent energy, lots of conversations going on between the planets, which again just gives it that much more of a, characteristics of the planets involved, okay? So lots of communication going on, maybe communication about secrets, about things that are coming to light that we didn't know before. You want to look to your own personal natal birth chart and see where Taurus is, the Taurus-Scorpio axis. There's also still Scorpio things coming up. The last eclipse was a little bit more based around other people's money, right? So an example for that for me, and I'm an Aries rising, so that means that I go along with the general birth chart, right? That means that my Taurus is where it belongs, right? Where it's comfortable, where it's meant to be in the second house, and my Scorpio is in the 8th house. So for the last eclipse, I got an unexpected inheritance found out I was receiving an unexpected inheritance from a deceased family member. This eclipse, today, it's the day before the eclipse right now that I'm recording this, I went out to my mailbox and I got an unexpected small check from an old bank that's paying out, some sort of lawsuit, something that happened at my old bank. So I think they gave me like $50 or something, right? So these are kind of some of the things that we may find, at least for me on a personal level. You're gonna want to look to Taurus and Scorpio in your chart to see what aspects of life might be triggered. But then there's also the general theme of Taurus and Scorpio. So some of you may be receiving inheritance checks, things like that as well, okay? Because there's the collective theme and then there's what happens a little bit more personally. But that's an example of some things that can come up. Of course, these transits can be in conversation and an aspect to your natal planet, which give it a lot different reading, more specific. And if that's something that you're looking for, I can definitely do an astrological eclipse reading, looking into your birth chart to see how it will personally affect you. But hopefully today this pick a pile reading will give you a little bit of insight into what to expect, okay? This is an ancestral reading, so downloads from the ancestors. Ouch, I just pricked myself with something when I was trying to shuffle these cards. Should I not use these cards? So hopefully you'll get some insight from this reading. Of course, if you want a more personal reading, oracle, astrological, whatever it may be, I can do that for you. But hopefully for today, this will give you some insight. And general advice around eclipse is to, do whatever you want, but to take it easy, right? Eclipses usually bring enough energy on their own that they don't need our energy attached to it, meaning we don't need to make any crazy big decisions or moves right now, and it's typically recommended not to, right? The eclipse brings its own big change and moves. I also woke up today to snow after it had melted for a couple of days, and it's fully back, like a foot or two, and also to my fence being broken by the neighbor's tree breaking and crashing down into it. So, lots of unexpected things. I feel like eclipse season also brings kind of funky weather, storms, things like that, and I think we're heading into another storm tomorrow on the day of the eclipse, so we'll see. And because it's in Taurus, I think at least I'm already seeing like examples of us as a collective having to learn to work different with the earth, with our food supply, with our resources, okay? And again, on a personal level, it might be quite emotional thinking about where we are with our own finances, resources, and self-worth in our life. And what adjustments do we need to make, right? And we can even just kind of like write those down or voice them to the universe. And, sometimes, the eclipse is going to bring that energy on its own and maybe bring some of that positive change you were hoping for too, okay? Eclipses are not all bad. I know after hearing that this one could bring something unexpected sounds scary, but think back to your life, especially around, 2004 and 2013, I believe, we had similar eclipses happening. So looking back, just general what was going on in your life around those time. And remembering, however old you are, we've been living through eclipses since before you were born, okay? Our ancestors survived, we survived, we'll survive again. So, yes, this time can be intense and bring about a lot of change, but oftentimes it's necessary change, okay? Obviously, I don't want to say that if you experience trauma, that trauma is necessary, because not all trauma is necessary, I don't believe. However, typically we find that, after the eclipse has passed and we've been able to move through, whatever emotions are coming up from what happened, we're able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like, okay, I was meant to go this way, right? I was meant to go this direction. So let's get into the reading. I am just shuffling my cards from the last time I used them to make sure that clear messages are coming through. So pile 1 is going to be this beautiful pink stone, okay? Pile 2 will be the brown stone, brown and white. Don't ask me what these are because I've already forgotten. Okay, so taking a deep breath, feeling into the colors. Hi, James. And into the crystals, just deciding which vibe and energy, maybe both vibe and energy. If you want to pick both, that's fine. We're going to start with pile number 1, this beautiful pink stone. I wish I had like a little place to put it to. I guess I can put it here and you can still see it. Pile 1, okay? Let's start with the numerology cards and just get a general theme for what this eclipse is bringing your way. Pile 1. Doing lots of breathing, breath work, nourishment, tending to yourself, caring for yourself, lots of self-care. I got the self-care cards out for this reading because eclipses, we need lots of nourishment, right? Because they can carry some chaotic energy. Okay, so pile number 1, you got 8. Manifestation. What's really funny is when I pulled this card and I saw the 8 first before the manifestation, because these are new, I'm not super familiar with them, I thought abundance. And I heard that this eclipse is clearing the way for anything that has been standing in your way and in your path of fully receiving your deserved abundance. Okay? So I know it says manifestation, but I'm hung up on this abundance, right? It feels like this pile is really breaking patterns that have got in the way, right, of abundance, but also there feels like some gunk and junk. I'm gonna light some herbs because we want to cleanse this energy as well, not just talk about it and sit in it. But it feels like for this pile, there's some icky self-worth, and when I say icky, just stuff that makes you feel icky. You're not icky, but some patterns around abundance, finances, resources, and self-worth that feels, yeah, that's what I was gonna say, very ancestral, okay? And your ancestors are here to remind you just how abundant you are, and I'm hearing them say, like, you don't need to manifest, like, with this eclipse. Or if you want to manifest, kind of something that I said in the beginning, just speaking to the universe what it is you want to release, and what it is you want to invite in to fill the space of what you've released. I'm also hearing like this pile might need some cleansing, energy cleansing, clearing, which we're kind of naturally doing right now with the herbs. But if you feel like taking a salt bath, if you feel like getting Reiki. If you feel like getting some sort of energy clearing around this time, you are being invited to do that, being called to do that. Take a sip. And yeah, they're saying your perfect way for manifestation during this eclipse is to speak to us. They're saying if you want to build an altar for your ancestors, speak to us, speak it to the universe, what it is that you want, what it is that you're releasing, what it is that you're inviting in, and then just kind of relax into it. They're also saying, like, you know, say it and then let it go. Don't obsess over it. They say that in the living world, we have a hard time with like manifestation and all these things because we are constantly hanging on to the wants and desires and the manifestation and the needs after we're supposed to kind of release it to the universe. We're not really releasing is what they're saying, right? We're not really giving it to them to take over and take care of when we're still in our heads about it. Okay? Coyote spirit, trust in divine detours. We also got this one for this pile. Okay, so yeah, this eclipse is bringing about a detour, but it's a divine detour. So where you thought you were going, pile one, is not where you're gonna end up. And I know that sounds like scary, but it's only scary, the ancestors are telling me, when we hang on, like they're showing me closed fists. We have a hard time as human beings, as living beings, they're telling me, more so because we hang on to things, right? We hang on to the way things should have been or should be. This pile I'm hearing is like really going to be affected by Uranus, like big sweeping change. I just saw like my main ancestor guide. She sweeps for me to show like something's being energetically cleared. And so whatever detour is happening, whatever road you're going down that wasn't the road that you thought is the road you're meant to go down. And I know that sounds like lame. This group might also be seeing feathers a lot, right? These are messages from your spirit guides that you're moving. This detour is moving you in the right direction. And I'm hearing a lot about like detach yourself from the outcome, detach yourself from the way you think life should be. Now I'm also hearing like, yes, you have your wants and your desires and the things that you goals and the things that you work towards, and there are certain things that you shouldn't budge on, is what I'm hearing. Okay, there are certain things that you shouldn't budge on, but your morals, your values, you know, not budging on those things, but they keep saying like, don't budge on those things, but budge on how you get there. Be more flexible on how you get there, or don't hold this firm belief that if it doesn't happen, something doesn't happen this way, then it's not for you. Does that make sense? Maybe we'll get more into it with the reading. From the astrology cards, you also got Sagittarius, okay? So Sagittarian themes, higher learning, long distance travel, connecting with spirituality. So I do see, it feels like some people in this group, their big change might have to do with something across country, out of country, something to do with higher learning, something to do with religion and or spirituality. You also got the waning crescent moon, which really signifies endings. Okay, waning crescent is also the balsamic moon, the moon that I was born under, and it's really calling upon rest for you. Okay, the waning crescent is like perfect eclipse energy because it's just like, let it just happen. Rest, nourish yourself, really take care of yourself. This is a full lunar eclipse in Taurus, and Taurus, you know, the moon is really comfortable there, okay? It's in its best placement in Taurus, but it does emphasize really nourishing the self, taking care of the self, the body. Okay, the moon is all about the body and nourishment. And in Taurus, in earth sign, right, we may really be called to grounding practices, okay? I'm also hearing that this ending might be around Sagittarius theme. So maybe some of you are finishing a degree. Maybe some of you are walking away from a type of a religious group. Maybe some of you are moving back home from being away, right? Maybe it's the end of a long distance travel or trip for you. Something, yeah, that's shifting and changing. And again, I do think that it is, you know, with the eclipse and Uranus involved, yes, it's unexpected, but it kind of feels like this pile is like, whoa, yeah, I just really did not know that this was going to be the change. You also got leap of faith, take a risk, and put your heart's true desire into action. Okay, so this eclipse may call upon you to take a big risk, right? Once you discover what you didn't know before, I'm hearing, or once this Uranian change comes about, it might open the door for you to, yeah, take a risk and do something totally different that you never thought that you would be able to do. So as much as this is like, whoa, okay, this is the direction we're going in, I'm hearing that it's a much needed direction. It's a good direction. Okay, you also got the 7th house. This area of life is about long-term significant partners, romantic, business, or family. Okay, so you could be seeing huge change, and it could be great change, right? Whatever is necessary for your committed partnerships, your business partnerships, your relationships, whatever change that has kind of been in the back of your head in this area of life feels like it's coming forth. And that could be change, like you become more committed. But you might also get some messaging around a partnership that forces you to move in a new direction, which this detour, right? The detour might be in relationships. There might be a pregnancy that comes about that detours the relationship, right? Something surprising, something unexpected. You also got Taurus. This energy around you shows the abundance of nature. It is rich, earthy, and productive, yet relaxed and slow. Yeah, so the ancestors are like, get in touch with the earth again. This is how you are going to feel. I know it says manifestation, but they're hooked on this abundance. That's how you're going to manifest your abundance, okay, is spending more time with the earth, right? Walks in nature, just noticing everything around you, being very present to it, okay? Let's get into some angel tarot cards, see what else can this pile expect from this total lunar eclipse in Taurus. This just jumped right out. We got release, Archangel Azrael, the end of a phase or a situation, spiritual transformation, time to move on, yeah. So really leaving something behind, which is a theme in this eclipse, right? Really feels like either old relationship patterns, old business partner, you know, or someone that you were going to work with. We also have the Sagittarius theme of spiritual transformation here, so it can really be walking away from a religious group to walk into a new one. Remember, there's always new beginnings after endings, so it's not like, okay, something's going to end and then that's it. Usually something comes in, right? Or we're making space for it. Yeah, I'm also seeing that this group might really be receiving lots of spiritual downloads that really hit on spiritual transformation, right? I really do see that for this group. Cleansing. I'm hearing like, yeah, in order to release, to help yourself release with this eclipse, cleanse with it. Salt baths, cord cutting, getting Reiki. You know, you could do it for yourself or you could have someone else do it for you. The ancestors are saying, like, have someone else do it for you, but I know that's not always possible. But there's lots of people, I think, who might be doing, like, group live energy clearings online that maybe you can participate in if you can't purchase anything. You also got Shalom Master, be graceful in movement and action. Yeah, so I was kind of hearing this earlier and didn't really say it, but take your time. Also, the waning crescent, the balsamic moon, right? It's an ending, it's a shift, and we want to go through this time, yeah, gracefully and slowly, which may not be what you want to hear, but you really want to make sure. And again, I think this is coming through as an eclipse advice too. Like, we don't make any, I mean, do whatever you want, but the suggestion is to not make any big shifts or changes unless, like, it's feeling really resonant for you. And I don't know what your specific chart looks like. So some people could just ride through this eclipse and it's not as intense because it's not hitting any of their personal planets. Okay. But if you're going to take action around this time, like, make sure you've really done your work, your study, right? Sagittarius is the teacher, right? They study, they really get into that higher learning and knowledge in order to make the best decision, okay? And again, this could be decisions around partnership, business, your resources, your finances. Yeah. 2, okay, we'll take them. We also got Dear Pathfinder, trust your instincts to guide you through this situation. Okay, so really tapping into the body, you know, again, a theme of a Taurus moon, of Taurus and the moon is to tap into the body, right? To connect, to get quiet, to be able to listen to the best way to move forward, right? And trusting your instincts comes easier when we're going slower, when we are quiet, right? You also got Horse, freedom. You always have a choice. So yeah, it feels like maybe some people feel like they're stuck in partnerships, business or otherwise, or there's no way to move forward to make sure everybody is happy in this situation. Feeling some stuckness, but your ancestors are reminding you, you can go any way you want, right? You can do whatever you want. And the eclipse is moving the stuckness through, I'm hearing. Maybe moving through stuckness that you didn't want to make a decision on, you didn't want to make a choice on, and so yeah, the eclipse is making it for you, and maybe it's the secret choice that you wanted to make, but you were afraid to. Okay, you also got Rhythm Maker, Tempo, so this is an ancestral card that always tells me that the ancestors really want you to dance to the beat of your own drum, to do your own thing, right? We do have Uranus involved. Uranus is all about being unique, being yourself, being revolutionary, being different, okay? So this spiritual transformation that it feels like you're going through is very personal and unique, and you have the choice to be yourself. You have the choice to lean into the true uniqueness of who you are, and your ancestors are really calling that upon you, calling you to do things your own way, right? I'm hearing that there's been kind of like a heavy reliance on partnerships, a heavy reliance on maybe making sure you do things to make sure the other person's happy, or you've seen how other people are, or you want to make sure, yeah, again, that the other person feels like your choice is benefiting them as well. And the ancestors are saying your choices don't always have to benefit everybody else. If you hurt somebody else in the process of making a choice that is right for you, then then that's sometimes like a little bit of a casualty that has to happen. We cannot people please all the time. We cannot constantly make sure everybody is okay with our choices. Okay? I'm being told to dip into the book for this one because I'm missing something. So yeah, I keep hearing like from the ancestors, like dance like no one else is watching, dance like no one else is watching. And you're going to be able to be more free to step into your own, to step into your personality, I'm hearing. I feel like this group has not been able to be themselves, and this eclipse is like opening up the door for you to be your true self, to dance to the rhythm of your own drum, right? What else was I gonna say? I feel like there was something else. Like maybe someone in partnership is holding you back, or there's like a business going on where you don't want to be into it anymore because you can't be your full self, and once you maybe break away from it or step out of it, you can be. That felt like it needed to come through. Okay, we also got the elk for this group, okay? So the elk is really representative of masculine energy, earth energy, stability, okay? This is also a call to cleanse the body, right? If the elk energy needs to be back in balance, like you want to be more conscious of what you're putting into your body, okay? But this is really like protective, stable, like I feel like the elk is coming through to ask this group is like, where can you bring more stability to your life, more masculine energy, more like father energy, care to, the stabilizer. Where can you bring in that father stabilizer energy? And I know not every father is stable, but that's the positive side of masculine father energy, is that the father brings stability to the group, right? Where can you be your own father more, right? The father takes care of the resources, not that the mother doesn't, but in a different way, right? They also are really in line with their values. They know what they value. They stay strong in line with their values. So I feel like this elk energy is coming through. Like, how have you been fathering yourself? How are you in line with your personal values? Where can that use some readjustments, some nourishment? Okay. You might feel reconnected to father energy. Your father's lineage might be coming through for some clearing, cleansing, yeah, and it feels like some of the patterns that are coming up, money patterns, patterns around resources and self-worth, were inherited, right? So you have inherited, people in this pile might have some work to do around inherited patterns around Taurus theme things. And I'm also hearing like how you eat, how you deal with your resources, your connection to food, right? So kind of just like reviewing that. It's coming up for review. And yeah, the elk just really really calls on you to father yourself, okay? Bringing these love cards in because we've got the 7th house, so I'm wondering what's the eclipse message from the ancestors around love, okay? And if you're not in a personal, committed, romantic relationship, it can be you know, friendship, family, whatever feels most resonant to you. It feels like business and committed partnerships are the two that are standing out the most in this reading, okay? So, hard to pick these cards. Romance, lavish the one you love with personal attention and affection. Interesting. Okay. So, I think some people in this group have kind of, it feels like where is the romance been? The relation, maybe the committed partnership you're in, and if you're not in one, how can you romance yourself, right? Where, the ancestors saying, where has that been, right? Relationships need to be fed and nurtured, okay? So feeding and nurturing the relationship and having fun with it. They just looks like they're having so much fun. They're dancing, they're in love, they're enjoying themselves. How can you enjoy yourselves more is what I'm hearing. Or yourself more. And I'm also hearing, like, for the single people, the ancestors are saying, like, date yourself, bring yourself roses, take yourself out to dinner. Romance yourself, lavish yourself. But if you are in partnership, where have you kind of both, I'm hearing, maybe been falling behind on your love for each other, right? Your commitment to each other. It kind of feels like maybe there's relationships where, like, yeah, in the beginning you were doing all these great things together, you know, for each other, and that's kind of naturally fallen by the wayside, but leave a love note. Take someone out on a date. When they come home from work, turn on the music and take their work stuff out of their hands and throw it on the floor and dance with them, right? You know, things like that. Small things, they're saying. It doesn't have to be this large overhaul, but nourish your partnerships, nourish your love, nourish your relationships, nourish your relationship to yourself, okay? We got the self-care cards because the ancestors love these cards, and especially around eclipses, because we need a lot of nourishment around this time. Okay. Ooh, sound healing. Love it. So you might really be called to take a sound healing class, workshop. I know that there's some out there right now for the eclipse. You can even just get like a YouTube and listen to it, but it feels like these are very sound-based people in this pile, okay? Sounds are important to you. That also means like negative sounds can be really triggering to you. So trying to have lots of nice sounds happening. Like I said, taking a workshop, watching something on YouTube. Excuse me. Also feels like maybe some people in this group have wanted to get more into sound healing, maybe certify, take a class. And the ancestors are like, yes, do it, nourish. Let this eclipse naturally release. Let it naturally heal you. Let it naturally bring about the change that you feel like is scary because it's necessary. And the ancestors are saying, I know that you weren't expecting to go down this road, pile one. I know that these are some big changes and shifts that are going to divert the path that you were going to go down. Yeah, easy to say. They're saying in good time you will, you know, be able to see the reasoning for this. They're also saying they're here for you. They love you. If you want to reach out to them, they're always there. Speak to them out loud. Invite them into your life, your well ancestors, of course. Build an altar for them. Put up pictures. Send them love. Not just during Samhain, they're saying, or Day of the Dead, like, we're here all year. They're saying, we're here all the time. Okay, pile one, so much love coming through your ancestors. They're here for you. They're here to support you. Lots of grounding, nourishment for this eclipse. And they love you. You're going to be okay. Okay, pile two. Pile two, what do we got for you? Trying to make it still visible on my lap there. All right, let's start with the numerology cards. What's the theme of this eclipse for all of my folks in pile 2? Got 61, self-love. Okay. So this really falls in line with that Taurus theme. It rules over the second house, which rules over our self-worth, right? Interesting that finances, resources, food, right, our personal belongings are all in the same house of self-worth. What attachment to your things do you have that you can start to let go of? Feeling like this group is really attaching what they earn, what they make, right, to who they are and how much love they deserve to give themselves. Okay? I'm feeling sadness in this pile. And lots of emotions and sadness, grief, crying might come up for this pile. Your ancestors love you so much and they really want you to love yourself. Easier said than done, right? They feel like this has been a theme for you. It continues to be a theme for you, and it really feels like this self-love is, wrapped up in finances a lot. Okay, they want me to do this pile next. Where can you love yourself more? How can you love yourself more? What is coming up around the theme of self-love for you during this eclipse? Do you give yourself love? Do you allow yourself to love yourself when you're maybe not making as much money? We got 2, okay? Dragonfly spirit, truth transcends illusion, 22. Okay, the number 2 is all about balance. So truth transcends illusion. Feels like that Mercury involvement in this eclipse is going to bring some truth around for you. Okay? And whatever stories, whatever way that you think things have been, is getting buried by the truth, getting transcended by the reality and the truth that maybe you did not know. You also got groundhog spirit, time to let go. It's time to let go. It's time to let go of those old stories around money and self-worth that you inherited, okay? Similar to the first pile. That first pile felt more like romantic and patterns around love, and this is a pattern around, or patterns around love for other people. This feels more like patterns around love for yourself, okay? And there may be some truth, something that's revealed to you during this eclipse that helps you see something clearer, see yourself clearer, see yourself for who you really are and what you're really capable of. Ooh. That was purely ancestral coming through, ancestral download. Okay, what else can we expect? Angel Tarot deck for this eclipse for you. What can you let go of? I feel like it's letting go of past mistakes around money, past mistakes around self-love, past mistakes around what you've done to yourself, what you've allowed in your life because you haven't been able to show up with love for yourself. Whew, that felt heavy. All right, we also got 8 Justice, Archangel Raguel. I don't know how to say that. Fair and just decisions. Do what you know is right. Stand up for your beliefs. So this full moon lunar eclipse is in Taurus, and Taurus also rules the throat and speaking up for ourselves, okay? And having a voice, okay? Part of the way that you can love yourself is to stand up for yourself, stand your ground, and I'm also hearing like allow yourself to receive the justice that is deserving of you. There feels like there's some something that's kind of stood in your way of being able to love yourself, like it also, okay, I'm hearing it's like a collective general thing that we were, have been taught in society that we are undeserving of things, and feels like this group of people has been in and out of this wave of believing. Like sometimes this group is really great about their manifestations and their affirmations and believing that they're deserving of everything, but they've got like this negative old thought pattern and voices in real life around them that are preventing you from really being able to stand in what you know is right. Okay? You also got Shield Maiden, Make Plans, and Focus. Oh, and you also got Heart Guardian, Love and Let Yourself Be Loved. Yes. Major themes around love in this group for yourself. How can you open up to love? How can you learn to love yourself more? Yeah, and I'm hearing like this group has had practices in the past. They have resources that they've fallen back on. And your ancestors are asking you to redirect, to refocus. Make plans for implementing more self-care and self-love practices, right? Self-care, nourishment, that's all self-love. Feeding yourself, bathing yourself, taking care of yourself, right? These are all things we can do to show ourselves love, okay? And also, like, if you were maybe, for instance, once into affirmations and that was working well for you and now you're not, like, there's resources that just haven't been, that were fallen by the wayside, and your ancestors are like, pick those up again. They were working for you. And maybe it doesn't work perfect all the time, but that's why we can, really be called on to implement more and different strategies. And when we get to the self-care cards, I think they're going to have some strategies for you. Okay, areas of life in particular that this eclipse is really going to hit on for this group. Themes coming up, energies. Okay, so we got Psyche, okay? An asteroid that really talks to us about our mental health. I'm going to check the book on this one because I'm not super familiar, and I just want to make sure that I'm saying the right thing. Mental health comes to mind without me looking into this, but it also brings up, okay, like how other people are thinking we should live and how that affects our mental health and how we've been moving forward. Yeah, okay, that kind of goes back to the whole justice thing. It felt like someone was standing in your way, and I don't think it's a particular person, it's opinions. It's what everybody else is doing, scrolling, looking on social media. There feels like the people in this pile have not always maybe done things the way that they wanted to do it because they've let other people's opinions get in their way. Okay, let's see what other themes come up with Psyche. Yeah, also your intuition can be very heightened around this time, which is normal, right? Around eclipse season. Yeah, so you might feel like, okay, yeah. All right, I was going to say this before, but sometimes I ignore things. So this also Make Plans and Focus was making plans and focus, yes, on self-love, and I think there has to be a lot to be done in the way of self-love maybe before this can be very focused, but you have a special skill that you're going to be tapping into around this eclipse, and it has to do with your psychic abilities, okay? One of the clairs, some of the clairs, I'm not super familiar with the clairs, but there's something, okay, something that you tapped into once. It's kind of like the same energy of like your self-love stuff. There seems to be like in this pile that, and I picked this too so I can say we, I guess. We were on the precipice. We were working towards something. Something happened that blocked us, where we stopped relying on these things. We stopped using these tools. We stopped tapping into this psychic ability, but it didn't go anywhere. It just kind of like went around the corner and waited to be invited back in. And this eclipse is like really inviting these psychic abilities back in. And there's lots more to say about psyche in general, but that's not what's coming through for this reading. Like sometimes it has to do with relationships and how we want to be loved, which is interesting because we're talking about self-love. So, okay, I'm hearing like, yeah, it's a good thing I said that because the ancestors are saying like, how do you want to be loved? Show up for yourself in that way. Similar to the first pile, but different. Okay. And really making sure to like check on your mental well-being around this time. Lots of emotions, lots of feelings that can possibly consume us, especially in this second pile. Okay. How can we remind ourselves that emotions are fleeting, moments are fleeting, time is fleeting, you know, everything's fleeting, and not just fleeting, but yeah, fleeting. Emotions go up and down and come back around again, right? We're not always going to be feeling this way, so let's not drown in it or get stuck in it. Easier said than done. Okay, we got the 6th house, the work, health, and duty area of your life. Yeah, so your ancestors also want to kind of emphasize like this area of your life, okay? Checking into areas of health, okay? Maybe starting a new, and they said, we know this is about endings, but you're going to be starting new things. And there needs to be, you're going to be starting new things in daily work, ritual, activity, responsibilities, health, fitness. They're saying it has something to do with your psychic abilities. Your daily rituals and routines are going to change because of the psychic activity coming through, because of who you're remembering yourself to be. You're going to be, it's like a big remembrance for this pile. You also got Diana, focused intention, keep your unwavering thoughts, feelings, and actions focused on your target, and you will make your mark. Okay? Make plans and focus. 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 Why so much focus for this pile? And really interesting because they're both holding like swords, right? Or something. So really the ancestors are like, you had something that you were working on, that you were doing, that you were focused on, and something tipped you off. Something got you out of that practice, out of that daily routine, and this eclipse wants to redirect you, wants to refocus you in that direction. They're saying that was the right direction. You just lost confidence. You were in the right direction. You were working on the right things. You were doing things the way that you're being called to, that you're, you know, on your soul's path. You just got a little off course. Okay, you also got the 2nd house, your assets, finance, and the things that you value. Yeah. Where can you refocus on this area of your life? This is where Taurus is in the birth chart, right? Maybe not your birth chart, my birth chart, because I'm in Aries rising, but in the general birth chart, and that's what themes are happening in this area of our life, and especially for you, pile 2. How can you redirect your focus to this area of life and it feels good? Venus, the part of you that desires beauty, success, indulgence, and valuables. Yeah. I'm also hearing from the ancestors that this pile got some shitty messaging around resources, around success, indulgence, valuables. Like really feeling like this pile is like, you, success, you get to indulge? You're not allowed to indulge. Who are you to indulge? And this feels painful, and it's time to let go of that messaging and those patterns. You deserve valuables, you deserve resources, you deserve success, you deserve beauty. Okay? It's not them over there, it's you too. Really, it's all of us. And I think this is really, and that's why there's lots of emotions in this pile, because it's feeling like a painful thing to release, because it's a belief you held for so long, okay? You also got Dove, Serenity, slow down, pause, and breathe, okay? This eclipse is bringing up a lot, moving a lot of things through naturally that you don't need to do on your own, so pause and breathe. This feels like a self-care card. I think it might, your self-care card might match that, okay? But this is not a moment to try to force things through, to try to go fast, to try to make big change. The big change is coming, okay? That's what I'm hearing. The big change is coming, and you've done enough. You've done a lot. Let what's going to happen happen and breathe through it. Honor this shift that's happening. Okay. Yeah. From the ancestors cards, you got mother, nurturing. So your ancestors really want you to mother yourself. Interesting, last pile got father. So nourishment, nurture, love yourself how your mother did or should have, right? The mother energy isn't who your mother was, and we've all got problems and issues with our moms, so not really thinking to the mother that you were born to necessarily, but what the mother energy is meant to be, right? The positive, highest functioning, mother energy is what you're being called to bring in. I'm also hearing that these patterns came from the mother's lineage. These patterns around self-love and tying everything that you have made to your finances, right? Tying your self-worth, tying everything you made to your finances, tying your self-worth to your finances came from the mother's lineage, okay? It could have come directly from the mother, and just thinking back on, and maybe what those actual words were. Maybe you don't have much contact from your mother's lineage, but either way, whatever it was, came from the mother's lineage. And I should have said this in the first file too, but the ancestors are they're always offering their apologies and their sorries, right? Because they took on these patterns. They didn't know any better, right? Pass them on to you, and they see you struggling with these patterns, and they just feel sad and sorry that this was what was passed down. Okay. We also got Mercury. I wanted to pull another astrology card because we didn't pull too many from that first deck. And the ancestors here are saying that, yeah, Mercury wants you to communicate, write, express your feelings around this, share it, and maybe maybe that's what this eclipse is going to bring. Yeah, it feels like this, sorry for my pause, I'm just trying to feel into really what this is. Feels like it may be like a communication routine, a writing routine that you're starting. I just felt like I really got something personally from getting these, since I chose this pile, but there's just so much going on here around, yeah, Venus is also self-love, so this is really potent that this came up. Venus is all about self-love, and second house is about self-worth, right? And doing what we know is right, okay? I hope I'm expressing how this is all coming together, because it feels like it's coming together very nicely, and it's coming through in a way that makes sense to me, and I just hope I'm getting that across with my words from a human body, but there also can be some messaging coming through from the mother's lineage. Maybe you're going to hear from your mother something that helps you understand more about like your own self-love. And I'm also hearing you love yourself the way your mother loved herself. And if she didn't love herself, how's that going to affect you? What are you going to do with that energy, right? So just kind of thinking on that for a minute. I hope this is making sense. Let me know in the comments if it's resonating or making sense if you chose this pile, because I feel like it is. Yeah, this pile really inherited some things around self-love, which affected finances, which affected resources for you and how you choose to live with them and what you do with them and whether they're lacking, right? It feels like in this pile the energy from the mother's lineage was real lacking self-worth and self-love, and that was directly, picked up on and inherited and taken on. The burden was taken on by you. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm not so familiar with this one, so I'm going to look in the book for it. I hope that's okay. I have not pulled this card at all. I don't think ever. Ooh, wow. Okay, so we got the bat. Yeah, I don't think I have really any experience with this card. So the themes around the bat are darkness, letting go, death leading to rebirth. Total Scorpio themes, which is on the Taurus axis, right? It's the opposite sign. Yeah, so this is all about being in a darkness, letting things die off, shed, and accepting and adapting to whatever changes this eclipse brings. Okay? The negative dark side of the bat is that the bat holds on to everything. And the message from the bat is to let go. Let go. I think I said this in pile 1, but it also, I'm seeing this too for pile 2. Maybe this is all of us, like fists, like you're holding on to something. You're refusing to let go of something that needs to go. And the eclipse, the ancestors are like, the eclipse is going to wash this away. The eclipse needs to take away what is necessary. Yeah. I hope I'm explaining this well and right. Not that there's any right way, but just all the things that are coming up. So, huge themes around self-love that are coming from the mother's lineage. And the bat also signifies the end of a chapter, the end of something, which is total full moon vibes, right? Something is coming to a close. I kind of want to pull another one to see. And I feel like it's, patterns are coming to a close, right? Patterns from the mother's lineage. Could be communication with mother's lineage. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going to communicate with them anymore. I'm setting a boundary around speaking to this person. It could be that. Oh my God. Okay, I wanted something like new and fresh to help, and we just got 6th house again. So yeah, what really is coming through now that's shifting and changing are your habits, your daily routine, your health, mental, physical And I'm also hearing like you're not going to be doing so much more for other people. Like your focus is shifting, and what is changing is your focus on yourself. Loving yourself. Putting more into yourself. More time, more work, more energy. Okay? I love the vibe of this back card. I really have never... I don't think I've ever picked it. Self-care card. Okay, for this group, aromatherapy. So I feel like this group's sense of smell is very strong. They might really benefit from essential oils. And it could even be, maybe you're not into essential oils. It doesn't have to be aromatherapy, but getting in a space where you like the smell. I'm also hearing like if around this eclipse, on or around this eclipse, you are smelling something that... Like, this group can also smell when something is bad news or danger or when they should stay away from it. So really tapping into your sense of smell. And I'm hearing, like, smelling things, smelling the things around you to get a sense of what you want and what you don't. Like, smell might really lead the way for you, if that makes sense. If it's an inviting smell, you want to go toward it. If it's not an inviting smell, you want to stay away from it. Let's pick a love card as well, since we also got love theme, self-love in this group. Let's see what the ancestors have to say. The ancestors really have some messages, but I'm going to save it to the end like I did the other pile. Okay, what do we need to know? What does this pile need to know about love? Take a chance on love. When we love, our lives are changed forever. Okay, so it really seems similar to this message. Like, take a chance. Like, when we have issues with our own self-love, like, it's hard to open up to love from anywhere, from the abundance from the universe, and that's what I'm hearing too. Like, open yourself up to receiving everything and anything you've ever wanted. You are magnificent. You are deserving. Your ancestors love you. They're here for you. Okay? They're surrounding you. Call upon them. Speak to them. Speak to the universe. Invite them in with an altar. Your well ancestors. Pictures, rituals. And look, the sixth house really is ritualistic. And you might really, the people in this pile might really be called to ritual, to connecting with your ancestors, to I'm also hearing like creating your own potions in aromatherapy and things like that. I don't know why that needed to come in, because it brings you closer to us, they're saying. Okay, but really feels like during this eclipse, what might feel really nourishing to you is to, tap into a ritual. Like, do a card reading for yourself, light candles, do a breathwork session, surround yourself with good smells, and tap into the messages that your ancestors are wanting you to receive. You are so deserving of love and abundance. You have no idea. They want you to know. It's okay to go through phases where you aren't as excited and loving towards yourself, but they really are calling upon you to like implement this daily routine of loving yourself. What can you do daily to show love to yourself? And that can look just so different. But like I said before, I may have said this in the other pile, but like feeding yourself, cleaning your space, taking a bath with rose petals, whatever it is to love on yourself, right? Bring yourself romance, love, show yourself that you care, nurture, nourish yourself. I just keep hearing like, we love you, we love you, we love you. We wish you loved you the way we did. And okay, I'm hearing that this eclipse is really going to spark that self-love for you again in a way that you haven't felt it in a long time. That's what I hear. I don't know why I'm feeling called to pull, one more Angel Tarot. King of Earth, generous, professional, responsible, practical, a successful time, confidently accept opportunities you're offered, Midas touch, okay? Yeah, because I'm feeling like the self-love has also got in the way of, where was it? Like, yeah, something you're creating, something that you've been wanting to focus on, and I really think a successful time is coming for this pile once they can move through these negative messages and patterns around if they're deserving. You're inherently deserving. You're inherently deserving of things, of abundance, of love, of joy. And he's just like chilling in his chair, smiling, accepting what is coming toward him, right? Confidently accept opportunities. Hearing that the self-love also, like, lots of imposter syndrome going on here, and you've done the work, you are moving toward being an expert in your field, and there's some like trust that needs to come about with this, okay? I hope that wasn't too all over the place. Like, comment, subscribe if you benefited from this reading. The ancestors are telling me that's it. That's all that's coming through. Sending so much love and ease for this eclipse. If you want a more personal reading, reach out, comment, let me know, and I can get one going for you. They're super beneficial. I feel like eclipse readings can be so nourishing and exciting too, right? To see what's coming, and really gives you an idea of how to allow. Anyway, happy eclipse. I hope you're nourishing. I hope that you're able to rest. I hope that this reading was helpful for you. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.